Okay, I'd like to call a meeting to order. And roll call.
Peter Dunlop,
Sandy Slavin.
And Jim Gibberti. Now, there's three of us. We have a quorum. And
Did you hear
start
me,
with minutes from 8/25/22 to be accepted.
I find those minutes to be complete and acceptable. I recommend that we accept the 8:25 minutes.
second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and September 29th minutes, Sandy's reviewed those as well.
Yes, I have reviewed them and find them to be complete and accurate and recommend that we accept them.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Jim, I see Mac
And
is here.
Mr. Chair, before we go on, I would like to put in the record the dates of the minutes we have not received yet so that they be part of this meeting and appear on the next set of minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
3/9/22. 8/11/22.
Hold 1 second, Sandy. 3/9/22, 8/11/22.
22, 8/20/22, 9/15/22, 1/26/23. These were listed in an email I sent to you on February 10th. And I also noted something. There was an executive meeting, a session on March 23rd, 2017. Sorry about the date. Peter was the clerk pro temp, but those executive minutes have never been released or available.
It was an executive meeting?
Yes, on March 23rd, 2017. Now, we're also missing minutes of May 21st, 20. They were approved, but they've never, ever been posted on the town website. I've asked about them and they still have not appeared. May 21st, 2020.
Okay,
So I don't know how you're going to try to recreate the executive session of March 23rd, 2017.
don't have an answer for that at the moment, that's for sure. So,
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Well, you can go back to the March 23rd, 17 agenda where it says you're going to go in executive session. Okay, I just wanted to bring everybody up to
Okay.
date with where we stand on minutes.
all right, thank you very much. Okay. Next item on our agenda is to vote and approve fiscal year 23 second half sewer usage commitment billing.
Now, Mr. Chair, we reviewed the agenda and we had the word born on it. Why was it excluded from the agenda?
Well, because I was told it didn't need to be on there and it wasn't on there. Oh, I'm sorry. This one is for the sewer users fee.
So we don't have the born one anymore?
Uh,
I thought that was critical.
This is the one that is, the one that we have in front of us at the moment.
Clarify which one we have in front of us, Jim.
One we have,
It's in the
the
packet.
one we have in front of us is the board's second half commitment for fiscal year 2023 sewer users fee. I believe that's for the town. It is not for Bourne itself.
It was included in the email that went out
This was
containing
for
the
this?
document for tonight's meeting. I will read the dollar amount. $3,596,017.12. This is the second half commitment for the FY 2023 sewer user fee.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I've got two agendas here and I don't see that on either one of them.
It is for sewer business, letter A, vote and approval for FY 23 second half sewer usage commitment billing.
Right, but I don't have any number.
No, you don't. The number was in the document that was included in the email we got and in the packet. The number has never been included on the agenda, just the topic that we are talking about.
Okay, so I need a motion on this in a second.
I will make a motion that we sign the letter for the second half FY 23 sewer user fee. We will have to go into the office to sign the document.
The three of us need to do that. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mac, are you still there?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0.
Andy, would you give me that number again, please? 3 million what?
596.
I got, Jimmy, I got it. 3,596,017.12.
Thank you.
That was approved 400. And please keep in mind that three of us need to be in there to sign it. I will be in there tomorrow. One signature and I'll need two others. The next item we've got is to review and vote on this article for construction costs for the clarifier and headworks upgrades. We just received this. So. The 36 million, I'm not sure of, but that's all right for the moment.
Permission to speak on behalf. This is Sarah Greenberg with GHD.
Yes,
And-
Sarah. Yes, go ahead, Sarah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Good evening. So I'm Sarah Greenberg from GHD, and I am joined here by Russ Cleakham and Mark Drainville. Just as we're all working on different projects for the town of Wareham, they're just here to and available to answer and help answer any questions that may come up. So we're here tonight to have the warrant article language for the construction cost for the water pollution control facility clarifier and headworks upgrade projects approved and submitted by the sewer commission to town for spring town meeting in accordance with the as a follow-up and in accordance with the fall town meeting articles for those same projects. And there is draft language available in the packet.
Hey, Sandy, you had some questions on this.
Well, one, I haven't, did we ever get the engineering study done for the $2 million to indicate that this is a correct cost and what we have to do, or are we doing this without the engineering being completed?
Russ?
Sarah, would you like to answer? I'm happy to
Yes.
answer as well.
Yep, I'm happy to answer.
ahead,
Correct. The engineering for these construction projects were approved appropriated, if you will, in the fall town meeting on October 24th of 2022. However, it has not yet been put into executed and approved. And we have requested to be on the warrant for next week, the 23rd, for the Sewer Commission's approval of that contract.
One brief item to add. Commissioner Slavin, I believe you had asked if there was engineering or something to come up with these numbers. And correct, that was done as part of a plant evaluation. That was a prior project that we've completed for the town. That evaluation indicated the major processes within the facility and which ones were in a state of disrepair and that had to be repaired and at what cost. The reason why we did that is that this document or that engineering backup is required by the state revolving fund, the loan agency that does this, because they want to make sure that engineering is done and we're not just a shot at the dark number. So that plant evaluation was completed previously. Happy to provide a copy. That indicated the processes to be upgraded and henceforth the cost. So hopefully that answered or provided clarity to your question.
Okay, how are we going to fund this 36 million?
Sarah or Guy, I don't know if you're on the phone.
The
You can take
language,
it, Russ.
Yep.
It's in the SR fund. You can take it, Russ. I'm fine.
It's in the language.
I read it and I read it and I read it. I would like somebody to translate it so I understand where this fund is coming, where the money is coming from.
The state revolving fund money, where the state of Massachusetts gets all this money from, or where it would be coming from the state revolving fund, which is basically a loan program that the state has.
And what is our interest rate expected to be?
Sarah, do you have the numbers with the debt forgiveness and all the incentives why we're doing it?
yeah, it's, so the reason we're doing this is because, or at this time, is that it's 0 to 2% interest. And the reason that there's a range is it's dependent upon the nutrient removal criteria component of a project that you're submitting for. So to answer your question, 0 to 2%. However, this loan program also offers principal forgiveness up to us, and based on tiered communities as Massachusetts identifies them, which Wareham is one. And I believe that it is up to 9% principal forgiveness. And there's additional principal forgiveness offered that is at this point, the state is not identified the actual amount, but there's an additional through the infrastructure law, the bipartisan infrastructure bill law that is in effect now. So those three, 0 to 2% plus principal forgiveness, plus an additional unknown amount.
Which that the 9.9 principal forgiveness would relate to roughly $3.6 million that the town would not have to pay back on that loan. Think of it as, I don't like to use the word grant, but it's principal forgiveness. You don't have to pay that back.
Okay, but that's an up to 9.9%. So we don't have any idea.
And I believe it is, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is 9.9%. And then there's some additional that is to be determined.
Correct. So the 9.9% principal loan forgiveness is because Wareham is identified as a tier 3 community. So that would be granted as part of the SRF program. The additional infrastructure bill is anticipated additional that is unknown at this time, is undisclosed yet. So it's on top of the 9.9% to be exact.
So we can't count on that. That'd be a gift if we get it.
I think we can count on something. We just don't know how
Yes.
much. We can count on the 9.9%. We can count
Okay.
on a percentage above that, but we don't know what that percentage is.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And the interest rate that we would be paying would be a maximum of 2%. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So I'm back to the question, even if we get as much as what you talked about, a principal forgiveness and a low interest rate, what is the cost to us and the town and the sewer users every year to pay this loan back?
Would have to, have we done any type of drawdown analysis, Sarah? Any discussions? I think the answer is we'll have to get back to you, Commissioner Slavin. I don't, unless you have that prepared, Sarah.
No, however, on June 23rd, we presented this to the sewer commissioners and provided an example impact EDU, which is reflected in the minutes that are available online. How I don't see the presentation slides attached as indicated, but that was the meeting in which some of that was laid out, and so we can and we can get back to you as well. Yeah,
You're saying June 23rd?
that's correct. Yes, it was item number 5 under sewer business.
June 23rd hasn't happened yet.
Of 2022. This project was presented June 23rd, 2022, which is reflected in the meeting minutes in sewer business item number 5. And the presentation provided the details on the funding that we've just stated here again, the 0 to 2% low interest and the 9.9% principal. Sorry, apologies. Go ahead.
I have nothing in my notes that talks about what it will cost us per year in order to pay back the debt. I can see where you talked about the revolving funds, the 0 to 2%, the maybe 9.9 loan forgiveness, but I see nothing in my notes that indicates what it will cost us per year to pay back this loan. That money, that was not part of that discussion.
I believe I was at that presentation. I remember it. It was put up on the screen, Sandy.
Okay, then I didn't write what was on the screen, but it's,
Yeah,
I don't know
it
how
was-
we're
matter
gonna
of fact,
budget for.
I mean, there, obviously there's some impact, but it wasn't as much as I expected. And that's why we've been moving forward. Can't remember the numbers, but I don't remember that it was a big eye opener.
Okay, what's,
Is this gonna be a debt exclusion?
I
don't believe it's gonna be debt exclusion.
I
It'll
don't think
be
so. It's not
in
gonna
the budget. I guess we'll fund it through our cost of borrowing. I guess you call it debt service. John Foss will set up the debt service schedule. The state will give him those numbers. He'll prepare it and he'll forward it to us. And then he'll include it into our debt service as he does our annual debt service, and then we'll plug that number into the budget.
Do we have the money to do this as a debt service? I mean, our budget's so tight as it is. I mean, I'm expecting an interest rate to be at that
4.5%.
principal could very well be as much as $2 million per year, right? Just a rough guess.
I'm not gonna guess the numbers because I don't know, but it will be, it will be,
It will
Up in
be
that area.
substantial.
I don't know
Yes.
what, but yes, yes.
Okay, Guy, what do we have outstanding in our debt service? What are we paying every year for debt, interest and principal? I don't know what this is going to add to the
Roughly $2
budget.
million.
We're currently spending
Right now,
about,
roughly, we're spending
2 million.
roughly about $2 million for debt service. And we've got out there probably, I think it's 56 million. I don't have the exact numbers. So I really hate to give you a number because you hold me to
So-
it, but I can get it to you tomorrow. But I have the debt schedule. I'll get you the debt
Okay.
schedule and you can read it, but it's out there. And
All right.
debt is declining annually, 25, 24, 25, 26. The debt is dropping. So we're going to use that money, put it back into the debt along with other money to make sure we can make the payments.
how are we going to present this at town meeting?
I thought the consensus is we don't have a choice. What do you want to do? Shut the plant down?
No,
That's what's going to happen. You have no choice. We are in the corner. We discussed this.
I know we did. I just want
Why
to
are
get a
you asking?
confirmation. I'm asking.
The consensus was we have no choice.
Okay,
It's critical infrastructure in the plant.
who's going to present this article to FinCom and BOS?
GHD, would be happy to lead the presentation.
Okay,
Let's say
and
what
I've
we put
mentioned
together.
several times, this is not in the format that's acceptable for an article to be submitted to town, for Wareham Town Meeting. I've said it several times, and
Okay,
I'm
but
not seeing,
on that basis alone, listening to that diatribe there, what I'm saying is that perhaps we would be better served in this argument to delay this till the fall town meeting. Is that something that's workable, Russ?
No, you
I don't-
cannot. Here's the
Okay.
deal.
All right.
As we laid out to you in June, it has to be done to spring. There's a procedure. So if we don't get an appropriation in the spring, then we
Yeah.
don't get the funds.
When does the funds have to be applied for?
By the end of June.
By the end of June.
So that we have to be appropriated by the end of June.
Okay. All right, so that we can't delay this.
No, you cannot.
so if
Mhm.
we have, sorry, if we have to have this appropriated by the end of June, this has to be on special spring.
Well, I think the appropriation, authorize the appropriation of the funding. The funding won't be needed because we still got to get the final design done, enter the state for approval. Then you enter into the loan program in, I want to say January of 2024. And then you start the project, and then the project won't be
Hey.
physically financed until 2025, 2026.
You didn't hear me. When does this money have to be approved for allocation?
In the
in the
spring town
spring.
meeting, you have to
Sorry.
appropriate the funds.
All right.
I wanted, when does this money have to be identified as being committed? Don't say spring or special spring. Does it have to be done by the end of June? Or the
Well,
first of
yes,
July?
but
Sorry,
It
guy.
has to be done, it has to be done at the town meeting previous to the end of June. So I'd suggest that would be April.
I guess I'm gonna try again.
End
If
of
we,
June, end of June is the answer you're
then
looking
the
for.
answer has to be, this has to be in special spring town meeting. If it waits
I
to
don't
the
believe
annual
so.
town, if we wait to the annual town meeting, this funds will not be appropriated until July 1. You're telling me these have to be set aside by June 30th.
Now that the state is saying that we have to commit, we have to appropriate the funds. It's all terminology. The state says if you commit to the loan, because we're not going to see any money or spend any money for another year, but we have to commit so the process can continue. If we choose not to commit, they'll give the money to another community.
Okay, Guy, what is the date we have to commit the funds?
June 30th,
Spring town meeting.
2023.
June
Yes,
30th.
that's the
That means
state.
we,
Yes, that's the
that
state.
means we must have it done in special spring.
Whatever.
No, don't whatever.
Sure, then we're,
Bring
no,
it.
read the document from the state, that's all I'm saying. We don't need to expend any funds in June. We're not gonna expend funds until 2025.
I-
So if I appropriate one in spring town meeting, I can't use it, because we
And I'm
don't need
gonna-
it. I'm not gonna spend a penny. That's all
I'm
I'm
not
saying. We
talking
just have to
about
authorize
spending.
it.
I'm not talking about spending. If we have to have
Okay.
that money committed by the end of June 2023, it has to be voted on a special spring. If we wait to
So
spring,
let's not
it
use the
can't
word
be.
committed. Let's forget the word
If-
committed.
if you
All the
wait-
state is saying, commit to the project, appropriate the funds. Sandy, I don't have $36 million in the bank.
I know you don't, Guy. I am concerned about the date.
What is the difference
between
in the date, Sandy? What's the difference in date between special and spring?
Spring cannot, nothing, spring starts with July 1st, 2023. Special
Yes.
spring ends on the end of June 2023. So if
When
this,
is that meeting to have this voted on?
the motive is, it's It's the difference between special spring and spring town meeting
We're
timeframes.
just talking semantics right now, and it's
I
all
don't,
be handled on the same day.
oh, yes,
Correct.
but
And so in other words, you want it in the first one rather than the second one.
I believe in order to
Basically.
make the end of June as a critical component to this, we have to include this in special spring town meeting, not the spring annual.
And
but
what's the
spring-
big
I think it's a
argument? here?
question
What's
for the
big
attorney
argument?
and the
big deal
moderator.
is, what is the big argument? All we need to do is put it together. If we approve it, then we put it for special or spring, whichever one you want it in, that it has to be in.
So I think we get guidance from the moderator and Attorney Bowen and Derek and all the parties to be. And if you want, we can even call the state for clarification, and then we can decide to where it has to be. So, but the bottom line is I don't want to miss the regular town meeting that's coming up. I think it's the 28th. They're going to have all articles in. And then I think it's after that, where a few weeks, I'm guessing, will be the special. I think it's a question
No.
you're asking is asked
No,
to the
the
attorney.
special spring and the spring town meeting articles are all due February 28th.
All right, well, that's not what I was told by Ms. Sullivan. I apologize.
Okay, so can you take the language in the draft and make it conform to what the town of Wareham needs for an article?
And who would do that?
I don't know how to do it.
Sarah, would you mind, the
What's
language
wrong
we
with
had,
what is wrong with the format?
The town asked that something be identified as an article, something be identified as a motion, and something be identified as an explanation.
if I can add, does the state give recommended language for SRF related articles? Sarah, is that what we crafted the article back? I mean, we're happy to modify language. I believe GHD drafted it based on reference from past articles or things like that. But if you provide the language how you'd like it, we're happy to look at it. We just want to make sure it keeps the town in the right place for the required language through the SRF program.
Yeah, that's correct, Russ. The warrant language is put together from the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust SRF program, and they provide instructions and guidance language. But they, of course, recommend that the municipality make sure that bond counsel it's in accordance with their review and whatever the town is. So we're happy, like Russ said, we're happy to change the language. However, it needs to be in conformance with that, but this is correct. This is
Sounds like it's more the format, Sarah, right?
It's the format.
That's
Okay.
pretty easy. Can somebody send her a sample?
I did.
Do you
I
have
did.
that? Do you have that, Sarah?
I didn't say, I sent it to Russ. I thought I sent it to Sarah, and I sent it to Jimmy saying, we really need this format for our articles.
Yes, I see. I do have in my possession an email and with related to that, so we can take the article language that's submitted here and attached in the packet and put the appropriate pieces of that in with the requirements of the article, the motion, and the explanation, if that is what
Yes,
you're
because
referring to.
we find the article and the motion are really the same words, except for this, the beginning to see and to vote on versus enact in any manner therefore. So you have the format that we need, that we have always used for Wareham town meetings. So, yes,
Okay, we will
So-
resubmit that then.
So, are we
Then I'm
gonna, are we meeting again before the 28th or not?
Meeting next Thursday.
Okay. Sounds good, Sarah.
And
Will
so
we
are
have-
we,
yeah, I'm concerned about a quorum for the next meeting.
Well, you can attend. If I do it on Zoom, you can attend.
But right now, I would like to make a motion that we accept, submit this article for special spring town meeting for $36 million as written.
Do I have a second?
Can I amend that?
Go ahead.
I'd like to, how would we word this, Sandy? We'll accept it with the content that's in front of us tonight, but in the format that's acceptable to the
Yes,
requirements of Wareham Town Meeting.
yes.
Conditional-
I-
Does
Conditional
that cover
approval.
it? Does that cover
I
it? It's
believe-
conditional,
I
yeah.
believe that will cover it.
Yep.
The document, the information is correct. It just has to be modded. The format has to be modified.
Almost like an order of conditions.
Right. So if we vote on, we're in agreement on the content and it's only format, somebody who says the format is good is good. It won't require a vote, correct?
Correct.
Second. As amended.
Okay. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. This is gonna take 3 signatures, but it'll have to be after we get the amendment to it. Get the,
And we have one more article that got presented to us, recommended that we do yesterday. Do you remember that article, that request for new article, Jimmy?
No, I don't. As a matter of fact, I don't think I saw that.
Yesterday,
It was-
was it emailed out?
Yes, it came out of Derek Sullivan.
I did not get anything from Derek.
Jimmy, you don't remember getting it?
I'm looking right now to see if it's anywhere in here. I don't remember it at all, but let me double check. See if I can find
I'm
anything.
looking through the thread. No, I didn't get anything.
It was sent to all the sewer commissioners from Mr. Sullivan.
Let me check spam. Yesterday, correct?
Wednesday morning.
It's
Yeah,
in
yesterday.
spam.
What it covers is that it is a recommended that we have, what is the word I'm looking for? We have available funds of $11 million
Yeah, I've got it. in
Everything-
front of me.
in
Certification.
retained earnings. And the recommendation is our 3 articles at the last town meeting for the $6 million of engineering for the 3 projects be rescinded and resubmitted using the retained earnings for funding as opposed to borrowing for an engineering plan.
You're right. I missed that. Yep.
And that's critical.
You have that, Mac, Peter?
Yes.
I've got it in front of me now.
Yep.
Now, the 3 separate articles, wasn't one of them the clarifiers, the engineering and the clarifiers?
Yes,
Yeah, what this is the 3 articles that were passed already. The 3 $2 million articles.
I can remember 2. What's the third?
one was for Swiss Beach engineering plan for,
Yep, okay. And the clarifiers.
and the clarifiers and the headworks. Weren't they all separate
Right,
3?
I had to work for clarifier. Each one had its own,
So the headworks and the clarifiers are each 2 million?
yes. Is
For an engineering plan, yes.
that correct? That's correct, Russ, right?
They'll be under that. I believe that's
But-
on next
but
week's
that's what-
agenda.
But that was. what
Correct.
we-
Yes. Yes, sir. Correct.
That's what we did. Okay, fine.
So
Yep.
those 3 articles were for 3 different engineering plans. And we asked for borrowing. It has been recommended that we rescind those and change the source of the funding to our
Retained
enterprise fund, which has $11 million in it.
Yeah, I've got it.
So the
Guy, do you have-
article,
Go
I
ahead.
expect the article to be drafted in such a way that it indicates that we are only asking for a change in the funding, not
Yes.
approval of the project.
That's correct. That's all it should be, is just for funding change. Guy, does that have an issue?
If we're using our money, why
No,
do we
no,
need
no issue
approval?
at all. Instead of
Peter-
borrowing, it makes more sense to use the funds that we have. And I want to point out that the borrowing has got it pretty expensive on the open market. So it makes
Right.
all the sense in the world to use our
Okay.
funds. And if you look at $11 million, we have almost 6 that's non-committed of the 11 million in the free cash. So yes, it's a great
Fine,
move.
okay.
And to Peter, your question is, we approved the project based on the borrowing of the money. We now have to indicate that we're not going to borrow the money, but we're going to be using our enterprise fund. That is the change that is needed.
Okay.
The projects have been approved. It's the funding level, that funding source that needs to be modified.
Basically, we're giving back $6 million.
No, we're not.
No,
We're not giving anything.
no, it's gonna come out of
We're
our
just not
profit. We're not borrowing anything.
We're not gonna
I'm taking-
borrow it. We're gonna take it
Yeah.
out of the bank.
I'm taking it out of a different piggy bank
Okay,
And we still have to get that approved?
from which piggy bank we take it out of has to be approved.
Yes,
we need an article for that, correct?
Yes.
correct.
Okay.
It is not on the agenda, but I need if I can have approval tonight, I can work on it, and then you can reaffirm your vote on it at the next meeting when it is on the agenda.
Okay, so I make a motion, we have Sandy draft an article that changes the source of funding for engineering that was approved last fall.
There a second?
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry,
That's
I
okay.
think I'm,
So Sandy, you'll supply us with that article and we'll put it on the agenda for next week.
yes,
Approval.
I will draft it,
We'll vote-
send it
we'll-
out. Please make sure you don't leave it in your spam folder.
Oh,
I don't
I'll be looking
usually-
for
I
it this time.
Usually, I never check the darn thing, to be honest.
yeah.
I found Eric's in my spam folder too, and he says, I sent it to you when we were in our capital planning meeting. It was embarrassing that his stuff went to spam.
Well, look where it's coming from.
Okay,
Okay. Anything else?
If there are no other GHD related items, to permission to be excused, or any other questions for us?
Talk to you later. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Have a good
I
night.
have a question,
you.
Russ, before you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, involves this. We're basically rebuilding the headworks and putting in new clarifiers.
Yeah, yes, we're going to be doing demolishing the existing. Of course, we always try to reuse. If there's anything that we can reuse within the existing infrastructure, of course, we always evaluate that. But for all intents and purposes, correct, you'll be having a new headworks facility there capable of handling the
Okay, so if it's brand new, what would you say the life expectancy is?
So generally, industry standards for is it 50 years for structural and 20 years for mechanical. So when I say structural, like any building, any concrete building
got
that's
you.
housed, those are just general. Now, of course, it comes down to specifics, how aggressively things are used. What I will say is without proper, like anything, without proper maintenance and upkeep, it will decrease its life expectancy in some cases.
That's the point that I want to bring
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Can you give us a number over the 20-year span for the mechanical of what the preventative maintenance costs would be,
I know, yes, sure, an O&M budget for.
you
the
know,
for-
annually?
Yeah, for both, and I believe, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, but with this size of a project, at the end of it is a requirement for an operations and maintenance plan, and it's comprehensive for this type of work. But yes, sir, right, we can work to develop some estimates on what the O&M costs are for both headworks and clarifier.
I think, Jimmy, that we might want to actually include whatever those costs are in the cost of doing the project, so that we're sure that this thing stays online for 20 years. And rather than fall in disrepair and we have to replace it in 10.
That's a
I-
staffing issue.
I don't think, I follow what
Yeah,
you're saying.
that's exactly my point, Guy.
I'm not sure.
I
that
agree,
we
Peter,
can-
and that's why we try to put a staffing minimum into place, and we're not going to, so we have no minimum. See, what I try to explain is that what you're talking about, Peter, is exactly correct. The EPA says each piece of equipment requires so many hours per year, requires so many staff. So if you don't maintain the staff to maintain the maintenance, then it doesn't get done. So we have no
And
set
if I know what it's
standard.
gonna cost me, I can use an outside contractor.
You can, I think that's why we're
Okay.
looking at doing private. Yes, absolutely.
Peter, what you want to do is, I don't think we can earmark money in advance for that. I'm not sure about that, but I don't believe we can arbitrarily include it in that package and say that a part of that money that we're including is going to be for O&M over the next 20 years. I don't know that we can do that. I'm not saying we can't, but I don't know that we can.
Just
That's
a
all.
real quick, I might ask Mark and
Yes.
Sarah, if we have any experience with other towns, have we come across this for treatment plant or facility upgrades in regards to future staffing? Or do we generally do the improvements first, get those built and with recommendations on what the staffing is required?
Yeah, typically it's, as far as I'm aware, and Mark, you can feel free to add on, but that the upgrades that are most appropriate for the, condition in the locality for the costs are recommended, done, installed, and there's always O&M that operation and maintenance, apologies, that is prescripted, if you will, with that of what to do type thing. But in terms of allocating, for 20 years, what that plan is, that is not something that I'm typically aware of being involved in.
And it's
There's
not an
no-
uncommon issue. We've seen,
No
it's,
funding allocation.
Right.
That's what the
And-
situation is.
it's,
I mean,
you see all these other towns around us are doing these 10, 20, $30 million sewer projects, but inherently when your system grows or becomes, likewise, you do have to expand your staff to take care of that. So with all these expansions, absolutely, you can bet that there is a staffing requirement, which is critical for the success and the durability. Because after all, if you don't get the 50 or 20 years out of this, you only get half the life, then that's not what you paid for.
But what Peter,
That's my
I think
point.
what, I
That's
think
my
what
point
what Peter's
exactly. I
looking
don't want to
for
be,
is he's looking for funding for the 20 years.
Right.
To do that
Right.
particular project, and that's not something that I think can be handled that way.
Right.
If it
And I-
can be, that's great, but I don't believe so.
And if it is, we haven't seen it with our clients. So,
Exactly.
well, I just think we ought to work in that direction.
Sure.
Rather than come
Agreed.
back to the people in 10 years and say, we have to spend 36 million because we didn't take care of what we spent the last 36 million on.
Absolutely.
And if Guy's got problems with staffing, and he definitely does, then we go to somebody like Weston and Sampson and say, give me a 20-year contract and take care of this thing. And how much is it going to cost me?
Well, I mean, that's an option that we can certainly look at. I think we've got to look at something, whatever it is. Okay,
Well, I think,
good night.
I think,
Thank
it's-
you.
I think
That is-
it's a big
Okay, well,
selling
you-
point when you go to the people and you're going to be looking for 36 million if they know it's not going to be wasted.
thank you, Russ.
Can anybody from the public ask a question before the engineers?
Who's not muted?
My name's Michael Raskin.
Please
see if I
mute
can
him,
ask-
please.
Are we allowed to ask questions?
No,
No,
Okay,
Makes sense.
okay, thanks, Russ.
Good night.
Bye.
Can't ask any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, the only other thing I've got at the moment, I just want to say that to everybody sitting out there, I can apologize on behalf of the board for the amount of confusion and disinformation that has been presented outside of this committee. From the suggestions in conjunction with some of the questions that have been raised, has indicated to us that we shall review the entire proposal. No decisions are made at this juncture, but further examination of everything is being considered. When there is something concrete to discuss, a meeting will be held with everyone. You will be notified by mail as to the date, time, and place of any meeting. And obviously, the proposed meeting for the 22nd will not be held because we don't have anything concrete to offer. Thank you. Is there any business else to be brought forward, guys? Sandy?
Yes, I would like to review that draft letter that we received from Guy. I need to talk about it.
Okay, which draft letter are you talking about?
It's dated February 15th, 2023. It came from the office saying this is a draft letter that will be going to the Swiss Beach.
Okay, so
Jim, that's the letter that you asked we write,
Yep.
sent to the residents along with
okay,
your announcement tonight, simply saying the project's been postponed till fall of
right,
next year,
And then
2023. this
it
year.
goes on. If you have any questions or concerns, please send a letter to 6 Tony Lane or contact the sewer commissioners from the town of Wareham website under boards and select sewer commissioners. I have no idea where you went to go to select sewer commissioners. I don't know how to get an email to sewer commissioners. I went to the
Sewer
website, I
commissioner,
couldn't
yes.
follow, I could
Well,
not follow the instructions in the letter.
Well, it's sewer commissioners at wareham.ma.us. I thought that's on the website. I'll look at it. I haven't looked yet, saying I've been busy, but I'll look. But it's
That-
sewer commissioners at wareham.ma.us.
Then you write that in the letter.
We'll put that in the letter. That's all. Why I
And
sent
who
it to you
does-
is for the very suggestions. That's all.
And
Thank
who
you.
does that, oh, sorry, Guy, who does that email go to?
It goes to Christiana. Send it to- any corrections you have or comments, send it to Christiana and she'll make the corrections. And then she'll send it back to you for proofing.
So the letter should read, and give the email of which the sewer commissioner's email is saying, send it to that email. Don't let them
That's
go
fine.
down the website because it won't give them what they need.
Well,
Well, we
we
should
thought it
also
did, so I'm glad you pointed it out. I thought there was a sewer commissioner's webpage.
and we should
There
also,
is,
Identified
but
each
it's-
member.
It does, but it doesn't give us it doesn't give our emails on it. It doesn't. Yeah, we're listed, but how do you contact Sandy Slavin when it doesn't say how to contact Sandy Slavin?
So I think to the
You need
website,
to-
to your point, to the website, we'll add that, not only to the letter, Sandy, but to the website, generally speaking, that email address, so somebody, anybody, for any
Yes.
reason can contact. you
Yes.
guys. Okay, makes sense. Makes
And
sense.
So
Guy,
modify,
wait a minute.
change-
Guy,
can I get
could you include a copy of this on the website besides sending it out?
well, can
Sure,
we see a
whatever you
draft?
want. Just once you get it, once Sandy makes suggestions, gets it to
Right.
Christiana, and we work through that, and we send it to Sandy again, and you guys agree with it, then we'll put it on the website, and then we'll mail
Fine.
it. But not
Fine.
until that you're
Fine.
happy with all the language and what's in there.
Sandy?
Yes, I will
Right.
wait for an
Okay,
adjusted
fine.
letter and approve it.
Okay, all right, who's filling in for Donna?
And wait. And once we have this approved, how is this letter going to go out? What's the distribution method?
It's
We're
gonna be-
mailing it. We actually got the mail merge ready to go.
So it will go snail mail.
It goes snail
And
mail.
it's gonna be on the website.
So it will go to the address found on the assessor's database for that lot.
And it will be on the
The
website.
address Through the billing system, that whatever address they get the bill at will be the
Okay.
address that letter will go to.
For just the residents that are on the streets involved with the project.
That is correct.
Thank you. So, I make a motion, we adjourned at 7:21.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Mac,
Aye.
myself, aye. Next meeting is February 23rd, 6:30. Thank you all.